And we're back with some more Dyson Sphere Program. Today the plan is going to be very simple. We are going to be heading back to our new home, forge system over here. What we want to do is set ourselves up a little bit of a base over here so that we can start building a large Dyson Sphere around Big Blue over there. It turns out you can relabel systems now, which is very, very handy. I was able to rename some of the systems so I could figure out where I was going. But before we go, we have to check our inventory, because we want to make sure we're stocked up, and we don't want to do this journey multiple times because it's a long, long way where we're traveling to. And we've brought a whole bunch of assembly machines, furnaces, everything we should need to hopefully get the basics started. We need to go there and set up just a quick system to produce stuff for us. Now, in the background, I basically started this map and put in a whole bunch of hours into it, and then I left it run in the background just to knock out some of the basic research. That way we're not starting from absolute scratch when we go here. We've got everything knocked out, and all we have to do is just build it up. Anyway, I'll back to you in a bit when we finally get there. This is going to be a bit of a long journey. And we're just about to get to our new home. I've already been here before, and we sort of set things up a little bit earlier. Come on, come on. Perfect landing. Now, I've been doing a little bit of experimentation, and I also, well, originally when I came here I didn't have enough energy to get all the way here without a little bit of help, so we set up a bunch of recharging stations to hop all the way here. But today is going to be all about setting up a nice new mall. Well, a modern mall. We want to set ourselves up a modern mall here. Well, once we charge up our batteries. We're sort of limited here because we're so far away from resupply. It's going to take us forever to get any replacements. So we're going to try and build up everything. We hopefully have enough on us to do this all pretty quickly. At the same time, I've been doing some research in the background in the numbers of what we're going to need to build a Dyson Sphere around a blue giant. It's going to be ridiculous. It's absolutely ludicrous. So we're going to have to change our approach. Well, we'll cover that in a minute. What I've been playing around with here is the furnace setup we're going to use. The problem we face is, just say we want to launch a reasonable sized amount of rockets, say just 500 rockets per minute as a good start. The problem with launching 500 rockets per minute is the amount of resources we're going to need. I just did some calculations here, and it's 766 furnaces. And that's just for silicon. 766 furnaces just for silicon alone. Iron is going to require 591. So this means we're going to have to be much more careful with what we use our planetary space for. Now right here I've sort of put a solar ring on each side of this, just to indicate that this is the band we're going to be building all of our furnaces in. And probably here as well. In fact, the top two layers are from the equator, and this one here are all probably going to be furnaces. And all of the rest of our construction will probably go up in the top part of the planet. It's just any transport belts that cross these lines get all weirded out and they don't work quite right. Same with buildings, things like that. So what we want to do is keep all our furnaces in these areas because we're going to need a lot of them. We're going to need an absolutely gargantuan amount of them. At the same time, I've been trying to figure out what's the best way to do these furnaces. So say, I was trying to see how many we could fit in. We can fit in about 5 rows of furnaces if we build each side of them and do a little bit of curving around. But it's honestly really tight, and we'd have to use an awful lot of these satellite things, which I don't want to. These satellite substations, it would be really time consuming to build them because these would be more of a custom build. Simplest thing to do, just do lots and lots of long straight lines. Very boring, I know, but I couldn't figure out any other way of doing it where we could cram more in and still do it in a reasonable manner. So this is going to be the design we're going to use, and it should fit in nice and neatly between these two areas. But give me 5 minutes and we'll just throw one together real quick. This little setup here is going to be our smelting column. We'll just keep adding on more and more as we need. This entire area is going to be reserved for iron plate. So we'll just stick all iron plate across there. At some point we're going to need a lot of them, so why not? Then we just bring in the iron ore, local demand, actually remote demand as well, and done. And then we'll feed the iron plate back in here, and the iron plate can be supplied out locally. And that's it. We have a little mine set up over here. Nothing too crazy though. It's going to use a lot of the transport belt, I realised. At some point we're going to have to do a little bit more research on the output for our mines, and we're going to have to upgrade all of these. So I've given each one an individual belt to feed back into the interstellar station. Anyway, with that done, we just need a little bit of copper, and we can start hammering out some of the more basic materials for our base. So I think we'll put copper just a little bit further down. And there we have the next one started. This is going to be, well, as you can see, this is all very, very straightforward. We're just going to be chucking these down, but we're not putting down too much at the moment because we just need enough to get our production started. Our mall started, I should say. We want to be able to produce all these materials here because I don't want to be running back and forth all the time. We need to power this whole area, and we didn't bring, well, a lot of power with us because we're lazy, and at the same time there's absolutely oodles of power floating around in this system. And by oodles I mean there's oil. There's an absolutely just ludicrous amount of oil, 466 oil per second. we're just going to pop over to the oil planet real quick and arrange for that to be shipped back here. This oil world is absolutely beautiful. I've only seen this biome once, and that was literally here. What we want to do, though, is we want to tap into these oil pockets. Now, even though it says 13.87 oil per second, that is not even close to what these things are capable of outputting. Reason being is we have a bunch of research done already, so we've got a mining speed of 180%, or an 80% bonus, meaning this gives 80% more than what's listed there. Which means we've got a lot of oil. So we're going to use a bunch of this. We're going to dump it into some thermal power plants. The thermal power plants will give us the power to run these. And then we're going to ship all of that over to the other side, or to the planet we're currently building on, and we're just going to use that for cheap power, just to get us started until we throw up a quick Dyson Sphere here. This game is beautiful and all, but the lack of light is really frustrating at times. Thank God for the mod. Alright, what we've got here is all of these set up, but we have no power for them, so I just chopped down a tree, and can you burn organic crystals? Turns out you can burn organic crystals. And we'll throw in some logs in there, and some of that in there. Now that gives us oil. Oh, come on. You just... No problems, no problems. We'll just take that off the line, and we'll shorten this belt down a bit, and then we'll just start filling this up with oil. Done. Max charging power is going to be 0. Transport range of drones... Yeah, whatever. Alright, give me some oil. There we go. 3 oil wells all feeding into 1 transport tower. That should give us more than enough power to bootstrap our base. I like having so much resources out here. This star system, just amazing. I'd love if you could start in one of these, though I suppose... Nah, never mind. The joy is in coming here and making a start. Now, as I said before, this whole area down here is going to be reserved for smelters. Basically, giant, large builds that we need lots of space for. So I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll cram our power up here. Now, I don't know exactly how much we're going to need to start. I'm kind of in uncharted territory here in doing this, so we'll just sort of stretch this out and put a whole bunch of them down. I don't think I brought that many with me anyway. And we'll have oil feed through the center in here. We'll have all of our oil, and we're going to request that. Oh, minimum load of drones. We're just going to max that out. And... done. That should go and start requesting oil. Oh, local demand and remote demand. Done. Okay, so that should start bringing us back a bunch of oil from the oil planet. Alright, let me just string this together. I don't know how many we've got left. We've only got 20 thermal power plants left. This quick oil should give us just enough power to get our base started. We're definitely going to be chucking on a Dyson Sphere power and probably more oil power later, but this is just to get the copper, iron and stone up and running. We just want to get those 3 started, and from that we can usually build a bunch of the other basics that we need. We just want to get everything, we want to try and get everything up to the stage where we can replace all the components we're using before we run out of the components we're using, which is going to be tricky because we may run out of logistic vessels. Never mind, let's get stone up and running next. As you can see, stone has also been very imaginative, but it's solid production. Now we've got the 3 basic ingredients started. I think from that we can even craft, if we pick up a bit of it, we could even craft ourselves some more power plants if we need them. Actually, how is our power looking? No, I think we're good for the moment. We can hold off on power injection. We'll throw in a little bit of glass as well. We're going to need that for some of the buildings. Oh, and we also might want to throw in some steel. We're going to need that as well. I think we'll just throw in a quick section of steel here. This is starting to already lose its shape, isn't it? With steel thrown in, that's actually quite a few of the good components done. Though I do want to get in some titanium and... where's the other one? Titanium and titanium alloy. Oh, and we're going to need to get some silicone as well. There's always so much to do, isn't there? I think, yeah, we should be fine on the furnace front. We shouldn't run out of resources before we've got those done. So we're going to stick our, I think we'll stick our titanium down here. That's pretty close by. Yeah, this could work out. I don't know if I've mentioned it in a while, but I really do love the mods that allow you to lay this stuff out like that. Oh, and another shout out to the speed mod for making this so much faster. It makes playing this game less time consuming, which is always good, and you just get around to do the good bits, or the fun bits. Alright, that's that done. I think I'll do 2 lines of titanium because we're going to need to do some of that, damn, I always forget titanium alloy to go with it. Double down. Now all we have to do is maybe throw in some titanium alloy down here. I think we've got enough space. Now, where were we? I like to make this nice and close. I want to try and squeeze in as many furnaces through here as we possibly can. We're going to have to build our entire industrial base across several planets, if not systems, to make this work right. Do have to design something a little bit different for this titanium alloy, though. It takes 3 resources to make, so we can't really stick this in a smelting column. Even though it looks like something that should be smelted, it takes 4 steel, 4 titanium, and 8 sulfuric acid. Now, the great thing is this planet we set up in has lakes of sulfuric acid lying about the place, so, well, that's one problem solved. But I'm thinking for the next one, I don't want to put it in this area of the planet. It's just, we're keeping this for massive furnaces, and this thing will just complicate things. So I was thinking we go up to this layer, which is just 2 layers of this stuff, or is it 3? Yeah, 2 layers. And there's enough space here that I think we could fit these in quite nicely. Calculator tells me we're going to need like 45 of these will max out 1 line of sulfuric acid. So that's what's going to be our big limiter. We'll only be using half a belt of titanium and about half a belt of steel, but the sulfuric acid is what's going to let us down. So I think we can squeeze in 2 rows of 45 here. We'll put in 1 for now because, well, this is a bad location to put it in. And yeah, let's just check it in and see how it goes. And this is the design I came up with. Simple, brute force, but it does the job. Takes 3 resources in, so we just stick all 3 of them on this side, and then we stretch it out really long. We'll probably make that another 15 long later on. But for now, this'll do. Yeah, having these resources about the place is going to cause a few complications, but I think we can work around them. Alright, so that takes care of that resource. Well, it will once I decide to actually store it. Ah, there you are. Sneaky breaky. Done, and done. So we got most of the basics. I think we're missing only a few more things, though I think I am out of ships. Yep. So I knew I was going to be going back, but let's maybe see if we can't hold out just a little bit longer before we head back home. Before we go on our little jaunt back home, I think we'll stock this up with all of the things we're holding so we can have more room in our inventory to dump stuff. And I really have to get rid of that science. This round trip is going to take a while. Let's do a little time skip. Maybe this sounds bizarre, but I kind of like that we're abandoning this old system half finished. Just, yeah, we got to a certain point and we're like, you know what? That's all we need. We can go. Alright, have topped up the inventory with a fair bit of things that I think we're going to need. Though, oh, actually, I should probably grab some more space warpers. Yeah, they'll come in handy. Definitely. You know what? Give me a whole bunch of those. Yeah, that should be enough. Plenty. Actually, you know what? Give me them all. Just in case. I would hate to get stuck out there with nothing else on us. And this is our silicone setup. We're almost done. We're almost starting to actually build our mall. We were just getting all the basic resources in place. I think that covers just about everything. Is it? Yeah, we've got our silicone, 2 different types. Then we've got our titanium. We've got our glass and our stone, our copper, our iron, our steel, and we've got our titanium beams or whatever the hell it is up here. Alright, well we can't build it, any of our mall down here, we can't build it, we probably want to build it in one of these rings, or maybe up closer to the top. Yeah, this gives us a little bit of space to play around with. Let's see what we can come up with here for a bit of a minor mall. I forgot the magnets. In fact, I forgot several things. I'm not thinking straight. We have to make some magnetic coils, and we're also going to have to make some green circuits if we want to make most of these. So magnetic coils and green circuits are first up on the agenda after we get ourselves some magnets installed here. That gives us magnets. Now all we have to do is figure out where we're going to put our green circuits and our magnetic coil builds, which is probably going to be in this row somewhere, or this one. Yeah, these 2 rows are pretty narrow, but we should be able to fit in something fairly reasonable. Give me a minute here to think. It feels entirely bizarre not building these near the equator, but it makes sense. They take up so little space. When we put down 10 of these green circuit production facilities, that's going to saturate, well, it's going to rip off 1 entire line of iron. I'm going to spit out 1 entire line of green circuits. We're going to set this to green circuits, and we're going to set this to electromagnetic coils. Done. Alright, now we just got to do some actual demanding. Yeah, well, demand. Throw a few ships in there. You know, throw in those as well. We don't actually need those logistics vessels, but I brought them with me, so I'm going to use them. Alright, let's load this sucker up. It should only take 2 seconds. Iron plate on the inside because that's what it uses the most of, and copper plate on the outside because that's what it uses the least of. And then if we watch it fill up, this should only take a moment or so, and yeah, it's already backing up in the system. Nice. Alright, and these magnetic coils are actually the exact same thing. They take actually the exact same amount. Well, wait, not quite the exact same amount. More a case of this uses half a belt of copper, and these use half a belt of copper. So I think what we're going to do is just play a little bit of sneaky here, because it'll look nice. Sometimes cool is just, you know, cool wins out. You get over there. We're going to get you in nice and close. And give me 1 second. Oh yeah, that's going to be the return line back here. Plan here is very simple. We take copper and magnets from this side, sharing this half belt that the green circuits is using, and we spit out electromagnets on the other side. Fairly simple. Assuming these don't, the inserters don't overlap with any others, do they? No. Perfect. And that should spit us out 1 perfect line. There we go. When you get to this stage of the game, it's nice being able to throw stuff down like this. What's next? I think what's next is I gotta go to sleep. I have work in the morning. This game, it just sucks up your time. I think I spent too much time maybe playing around with this and not enough time actually building. You get so caught up in designing things and thinking about it, you can sort of lose track of time. And there's just a little bit more power we'll throw onto the system just in case we need it, though. I think, yeah, it'll be strange when we fire this whole thing up. Alright, I think between now and the next episode, I'll do a little bit of work in the background to maybe throw in some more raw resources just to make sure that we're doubly covered on everything. I think we've got just about the lot. Oh, no we don't, do we? We have to get our hands on those, what do you call them? Plasma exciters. We've got to get plasma exciters and prisms. But I'll get those in the background and then we'll get into making them all. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed and good luck.